pair of blood-stained and dusty shoes was already neatly arranged on the table as another tidy shoe was put down beside them. Also there were 3 pairs of shattered glasses, one with a clump of hair still attached in the bent frames. There were 4 watches. 2 had stopped at the very second the explosion had happened. Also there a baby's dummy and a silver heart-shaped locket. The shoes had belonged to baby girls, but we weren't told whether they were being worn by the 2 one-year-olds that were killed in the Omagh bomb, along with 27 other innocent people and unborn twins. The personal items have been recovered from the blast site in the days after the Saturday afternoon massacre, and the photos we took of these bits and pieces showed the very personal and human side of the atrocity. 4 months earlier, the Good Friday Agreement had been signed, giving us hope that these dark days had been consigned to history. Of course, it wasn't the first time that the babies had been drawn into the slaughter of the innocents. The day after my 10th birthday, in December 1971, the Shankill Road was busy with Saturday lunchtime shoppers, getting ready for Christmas, when an IRA bomb exploded at the door of a furniture shop, demolishing the building and killing 4 people. My colleague Alan Lewis recounts in graphic and heart-rending detail how he was confronted with the horror of seeing the wrapped-up bodies of 2 infants being carried out of the rubble by ambulance staff. First it was 2-year-old Tracy Munn, and then Colin Nicholl, only 17 months old. They had both been in the same pram. Nobody who has seen Alan's pictures from that day will ever be able to forget them. Nor will they be able to forget Stanley Matchett's picture, taken only 6 weeks later, of Father Edward Daly waving a blood-stained hanky as the body of Bloody Sunday victim Jackie Duddy is carried by a group of men. 22 years after the furniture shop attack, also on a very busy Saturday afternoon on Shankill Road, 9 people were killed when the shop that they were in was bombed. 3 of them were children. I arrived on the scene quickly and photographed similar scenes as people used bare hands to dig through the rubble and bodies were carried away on stretchers. The hearse is carrying the remains of Michael Morrison, his partner Evelyn Baird, and their 7-year-old daughter Michelle, paused beside the gap in the row of shops where Frizzell's fishmongers had stood only days earlier. Martin Nangle's sequence of photographs of the lead-up to the murders of Corporals Derek Wood and David Howes, taken and secured in very difficult and fraught circumstances, were seen all around the world and are deeply etched in Northern Ireland's memory. So too is the photograph of pipe-smoking Barney Green, at 87 one of the oldest victims of the Troubles. Barney was one of 6 men brutally murdered by the UVF in Loughin Island. Paul Faith's photo of the blood-soaked inside of the pub is there too. Another tiny fragment in the heartbreaking visual history of Northern Ireland. None of us were cajoled into becoming press photographers, none compelled to be witnesses to the ever-growing litany of murder and mayhem, death and destruction. But in picking that as our career, we were accepting and assuming the vital role served by photojournalists the world over. We chose to be the eyes of the world, giving glimpses of what was happening in our little corner of it. We have all seen sights that nobody should have to see or wanted to see, but we were fully aware of the critical importance of them being properly recorded. But sometimes the story just got too close. In August 1988, as I came to a stop at traffic lights on Queensbridge, the car in front of me was engulfed in a huge blast and a ball of flames, killing the occupant immediately. Bits of twisted metal and the contents of his golf bag rained down on the roof and bonnet of my car. Alan Shields, a Navy recruitment officer, was on his way home from work to be with his wife and young son. At exactly the same time, I too was on my way home to my young family. It was 2 days before my son Jason's first birthday. As other motorists unsuccessfully tried to extinguish the flames, shaking and in a state of deep shock, I got out of my car and started taking photographs. Never before and never since has anybody been murdered just feet in front of me. Prior to Tom approaching me a few years ago to outline his idea and to ask me if I'd be interested in featuring in a documentary, I had done no proper archiving of my 1980s and 1990s work. Yes, I had my negatives safely stored, those that weren't destroyed in the 2 explosions that wrecked my High Street office, but they weren't catalogued, digitised, captioned, or in many cases even dated. Or when they were in the attic of an ex-girlfriend's parents' house. Fast forward a couple of years and the film was made and broadcast, and what a great film it was. Now the book has been published, and some of my photographs that I haven't seen for over 30 years are there again in the public domain. I hope very much that in our own small way, we have helped preserve and honour the memory of a few of the victims of the Troubles. To have not seized the opportunity to air the photographs again would have done a disservice to the dead and injured and to their relatives. My heart goes out to the families of my 2 best friends, Colin Dunlop and Mark Evans, murdered within 3 months of each other in 1981, in the first few months of my professional career. To the family of Barney Lavery and his granddaughter Emma Donnelly from Benburg. They were on their way home from the bingo hall where Barney was working as the number caller when an IRA van bomb exploded beside their car. To Kathleen Gillespie, widow of Patsy, who was tied in a bomb-laden car and forced to drive it to an army checkpoint, killing him and five soldiers while his family were being held at gunpoint. And to the families of the hundreds and hundreds of other victims whose murders and funerals we covered, I'm thinking of you all at this time. I want to thank Tom and Thomas for giving us the opportunity to share our stories. To Patsy, Helen and Jackie at Blackstaff for allowing us to retell those stories in greater detail. To Emma, Ryan and Jason, my 3 children who are here tonight and who lit up my darkest days. Missing tonight are 2 men who had an enormous impact on how my career developed in the early days. One of them actually features in the book. Others will, as I do, cherish our memories of Cyril Kane and Bob Hamilton. And I want to say a very special and heartfelt thank you to Alan, Stanley, Trevor, Paul, Hugh and Marty. When you strip away that competition aspect or the competitive aspect of our job, you guys were an inspiration and a support as we all battled through the darkness. Thank you.